No one gets angrier than a guilty narcissist. Have you ever had your narcissist be angry? I'm sure you probably have, especially if you're watching on this content. You've had a covert narcissist like subtly like rage inside and just fume and steam, and you can see the steam coming out of the top of their head. And you also have an overt that absolutely raged, like threw stuff across the room, was incredibly violent, incredibly like in your face, yelling, screaming, all this kind of stuff. Because you're gonna have narcissists that rage over and over and over again. But let's talk about like a different piece of this really quick, and that's the aspect here of a guilty narcissist. Okay? Now, some of you are like, hey, they're all guilty. So what are you talking about? All right, bear with me for a second. Okay? Now, when we're talking through this piece of the guilty narcissist, this is the aspect where the narcissist actually knows what's going on. But all it seems to do is ramp up this rage piece, ramp up how upset he is, ramp up how frustrated it is, because there's a piece that he knows that he's guilty. Now, this is an interesting thing, because some people are like, well, not all narcissists know what they do. They're just stuck in this like false reality. Wake up and smell the roses. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, when you live in the land of fantasy, you start to believe that a narcissist has no clue what he's doing and he's just randomly hurting people. That's bullshit. Okay, so it's time for you to wake up, whoever thinks that, and get on board understanding that he knows what he's doing is wrong, which is why he's only doing it around certain people. He's not doing it to his coworkers, he's doing it to you. He's not doing it to his mom, he's doing it to you. He's not doing it to someone else, he's doing it to you. Okay, you're getting the point. Okay, so when we're talking through this piece of a guilty narcissist, no one gets more angry, no one gets more upset than a guilty narcissist. So super interesting, because you'll have narcissists, you'll have people, you'll have men that go through and they've been cheating on their wives for years. Okay, I resonate this because that was my story. That was part of who I was, cheating. Okay, and then it got to a place where my wife is like, okay, after I worked on a bunch of stuff, like there's no more cheating, cut it off, blah, blah, blah. There'd be different moments where my wife would get triggered. And when she get triggered, she then accused me of cheating. Now at that point, I'm like frustrated and pissed off because I'm like, well, no, I haven't been cheating. Okay. So there's this dichotomy of what's going on. Like sometimes like I would get frustrated because I wasn't cheating. That was on the healing side, but we worked through that. But the majority of the time I would get upset. I would get mad. I would get pissed off because she would be calling me out for cheating when I was actually cheating. No one gets angrier than a guilty narcissist. Why? Break it down for me real quick. Okay. Narcissists realize, hey, I did something wrong. Okay. There is something wrong with what I did. There's something wrong with what I said, my actions, my behavior, something that I recognize that I was actually wrong. Okay. This typically is unlocking the piece that the narcissist doesn't want to admit or doesn't want to deal with. And that's this piece of shame. Now, with shame, it's like this frustrating piece of like, okay, I'm a bad person because I did something wrong. Okay, I'm a bad person and I feel bad for whatever happened. Now, some of you are like, well, wait a second, you just said narcissists have feelings. Yeah, narcissists have feelings, okay? They're not just these robots. They might act like it, but that's because they desensitize, they compartmentalize, they dissociate, okay? But they do have feelings. They still have emotions. It's just typically those emotions they don't know how to express, so it comes out as like rage. Okay, or like temporary happiness. That's about it. There's not a whole lot of like repertoire that the narcissist has in emotions to be able to talk through. Okay, so you have the guilty narcissist. He's like, hey, I did something wrong. This produces this piece of shame. Okay, typically then we move into a place of needing to project. Okay, no, to project it on someone else. Like I'm sure you've seen like an old time like movie screen or a projector. Right? Like you have this piece that's sitting here and it's got this idea of like, hey, this is producing an image and that image is going on a wall. And so the narcissist is producing this image and he's like, hey, I'm projecting onto you that you are a cheater. Okay. Does it mean that that wall is actually a cheater? No, it's just the image that's on it. The narcissist is trying to push and press and implant an image on your life, project something onto you that says, hey, you are a cheater. Now, typically, this is after you just found out that he was a cheater, okay? And he has to find a way to deflect and to project onto you. He's like, hey, if this can bounce off of me and it sticks to you, right? Like he's looking for something that's not going to stick to him. So narcissist is like, let me try to do this. Let me project something onto you so that I don't have to feel accountable for the stuff that I've done. So I don't have to feel bad for what's actually going on. Now, it's super interesting when a narcissist does this. So we'll give you a side note here, okay? I want you to imagine, let's paint a picture here. The narcissist is here, and they have this gift, Okay, this is the gift that the narcissist has. We'll put like a little funky bow on top that kind of looks like a hybrid squirrel. We'll put this gift, and this gift that the narcissist has that he's trying to give to you, this gift is, we're going to say, we'll label it as shame. Okay, we'll just label it as shame and guilt. Okay, this is his shame and guilt for the crap that he just did. Okay, and you're over here and you're like, okay, let me not accept that because that's a load of crap. And then the narcissist is like, okay, what do I need to do different? Because the whole time he's trying to project, on you. And when he's trying to project on you, he's trying to tell you it is, there we go, it is your fault. Okay? He's saying, hey, when I project this onto you, you're the one that cheated, it's your fault, even though he's the one that cheated. Then he's typically going to come back to the drawing board and be like, wait a second, she's not accepting this. I don't know why. Well, because it's not true, right? So then he's like, okay, well, maybe let me project it a different way. And when he projects it a different way, he's like, actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, we both have communication issues. We both have toxicity issues. And it becomes, hey, this is actually our fault. Now, what he's doing here is he's repackaging. In the business world, he's rebranding. Okay? He projected that, hey, this box of shame and guilt is actually your fault. When you don't accept it, he's like, did I say that? My bad. Actually, let's just, let's spice it up here. You know, this is actually something that I mistakenly thought that it was your fault. But here, like, now it's this nice, beautiful, colorful box that is actually our fault together. And you're like, okay, I might actually take that now. And he's like, yes. Because in the narcissist mind, you don't have to take 100% of the blame. You just have to admit that you're slightly at fault, and then he's off the hook. Then he feels better about himself, and he's like, whew, at least that wasn't my fault. Now I'm not guilty anymore because she admitted that it's actually her fault. So it's wild. A guilty narcissist will get so upset and will project, will deflect, will try to do anything to be able to run away from the problem. And oftentimes it's going to be projecting, trying to give you the stuff so that it's on you, it's not on him. Now, a lot of times you're also going to see this piece of rage. Now, rage, anger, frustration, silent treatment, passive aggressive, like we can lump a bunch of things in here, but the rage is typically coming out in this way of like, I am not getting my way, so I have to change the frame. I have to change what you're experiencing. I have to change your perception of reality. If I can do that, you'll be too distracted to realize that I'm a guilty narcissist. Okay, so a lot of times what he's trying to do, he's like, okay, I projected onto you. You won't accept my gift of crap that I'm giving you. So I need to do something different. So then he starts to rage out. He starts to yell, scream, like do all these things to degrade you. And then you start to realize like, next time he does something that I don't like, maybe I just won't say anything because this is how he's acting. This is the temper tantrum that I'm getting from this like 4-year-old man that's in front of me, 4-year-old boy that's in front of me that like isn't willing to actually engage with accountability and honesty. And so he's like, hey, you caught me, guilty, don't want to deal with it because it says I'm wrong. I don't want to deal with it because it says I'm bad. Don't want to deal with it, so I'm actually going to put it on you. I'm going to project it on you, make it feel like it's your fault. And when all else fails, just rage the hell out to make sure that you feel like you're not heard, you're not seen, and not safe to bring this stuff up ever again. No one gets angrier than a guilty narcissist because oftentimes you are triggering. You're opening up a wound that he knows is true. You're opening up and you're exposing the narcissist to truth. Narcissists hate truth. Okay? Narcissists hate the facts because they will avoid it. They will run away from it. They will lie. They will gaslight. They will cheat. All these things to be able to avoid reality. Because if the narcissist actually faces reality, he has to own who he actually is. Narcissist like, I'd rather run away, I'd rather run over you, I'd rather do anything than admitting that I'm a failure, than admitting that I'm not good enough, than admitting blah, blah, blah. All these stories. And typically it's just incongruencies with their mask. They like, I had to look perfect, so I put up this perfect mask. I'm not perfect. Oh, well, let me just lock down on the perfect piece so that people don't see me. This is the hard part. Like, narcissists won't be honest. They won't be truthful. They won't actually tell facts. So as a result, they're going to continue to spiral out because they don't want to be held accountable for the fact that they are guilty of what they've done, of the abuse that they've had, of how they've come across, of how they've treated you like shit. Like, they don't come across and they don't actually step into truth. This is the biggest piece. Like, you're sitting here and you're thinking, like, I know he's guilty, but let me give him one more chance. Let me give him one more try. And the problem is you'll keep selling yourself on that like version of reality, thinking maybe he's going to get better. And you keep staying in the relationship over and over and over. And maybe you've already done this and you're at the place where you're done. If you are, reach out for help. rawmotivations.com/breakthrough. Because I need you to understand, if you're not actually seeing honesty, vulnerability, and consistent change, like actual commitment in the relationship, you need to leave. You're not in a relationship. You're just in a situationship. You're in an abusive relationship that needs to liberate you. Majority of the time, narcissists won't do this, and you have to get help to be able to move forward, because otherwise you're addicted, you'll go back, and you'll still be confused when you're with this toxic person. Understand really quick that a narcissist, a guilty narcissist, will rage out, will get more upset than anyone else because they know they did something wrong. They feel bad about it. Okay. I know that's a touchy one. You don't like that. They feel this shame. They have to avoid it. So they take the shame, package it up, project it onto you. When that doesn't work, then they just rage out. Okay. Anything to avoid accountability and responsibility of the shit that's actually going on. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful day. If I can help, go to rawmotivations.com/breakthrough to understand how we help you break through your mindset, your emotions, to break free from the toxic person in your life.